Hello my divination darlings, welcome back to the channel and welcome to the channel if you are new. My name is VdLF and bienvenue chez moi, le salon de divination de VdLF. If you don't know who I am a diviner and a witch, and I offer a variety of divination services and spiritual services, which you can find via contacting me in the link in the description, through my Buy Me a Coffee page or my Instagram. My one-off readings are £10, and if you would like one, please do message me first before we get to your reading so that I can make sure that I'm comfortable with the question and the topic. Speaking of that, today's video is going to be all about certain things in divination in regards to the topics and how they're handled, because there is an issue that I realized that I have with new clients that I didn't realize was in the divination community this much until today, when I was going through new client messages. And I feel like because I have new clients, new eyes on me and my practice and what I do, it is important that I address this now to nip it in the bud, because I don't know who said that this information that I'm going to tell you guys about was needed, but it's not, and sharing this information could be potentially dangerous. So let me get into it. As I said, I have a lot of new clients, and some of these clients may not be fully aware of what I do and what I don't do as a diviner. If you are a new client and you're watching this and you are unsure, check out the video linked in the description where I talk about what I do and I don't do as a diviner. Now, among these clients, and I'm not blaming them, at least the majority of them, I've noticed some of them will come to me for love readings, and as you guys know, I don't do love readings. I will politely decline, stating that I don't do them, but if there's anything else you want help with, please discuss with me and I'll help you out. But some of these messages will have of other people, so this is of other people not involved in the communication. It will be messages including full names, birthdays, and once or twice addresses. And this is not on. When it comes to divination, some people think that you need full names and birthdays for certain things. I think astrology, maybe you would need birthdays and time of birth and all that, but I don't do astrology, okay? I stick to tarot, cartomancy, so you're playing cards, pendulums, runes, shufflemancy, and hydromancy. And I'm speaking in terms of those media. When it comes to those media, you do not need personal information like that, whether it's full names, birthdays, or addresses. Alright? You do not need that information whatsoever. Some people, diviners and clients, have the impression that you need this information, but you do not. It does not increase the accuracy of your reading one bit. It does not hone in on the client or wherever you're talking about more just because you have this information. And the reason like I mentioned, this is dangerous is because some people are sharing the information about others, their full name, their birthday, their address, without their consent. And so freely sharing that information with people online, when I get a new client, technically I'm a stranger to them, they're a stranger to me, until we develop our relationship. But if you're immediately sharing that off the bat, that gives a terrible impression. That tells me you do not respect that person's personal details. And as a rule of thumb, I'm going to say this, it's a rule of thumb, if it is information I can find on a passport or a government document, I do not need it. Divination does not require all that. It does not help me to actually hone in on the reading or on you as a client or whoever you need some advice about. Because what really matters is the client and the diviner being open to each other, and the client being open to receiving the message, and the diviner being open to formulating that message from what is on the cards, from whatever comes through, being honest in that. Alright? I don't need all that. Nobody needs that. That's a very common myth, that you need to have birthdays or full names or, God forbid, the addresses. The people who send the addresses are crazy. Why would you do that? Why would you? I had 2 people do that, and not like recently, but like in my whole career, and it's just creepy. You don't do that. That shows me that you're like completely disrespecting whoever you want to include in the reading, their privacy and everything like that. That's a no-go. That's an immediate block. That's an immediate block. The birthday situation I can't understand because it is, you know, quite misconstrued, but you do not need that personal information. So, like I said, it has no effect on whether it makes reading more accurate or whatever. It has zero effect on the accuracy. The accuracy lies with the openness of the client and the practitioner and the skill of the practitioner. It has nothing to do with all the government information. If I see that in the future, I want to say this as nicely as possible, but also as firmly as possible. If I see that information in my client's messages when it comes to somebody's personal information, or even their own personal information like that, full names, birthdays, addresses, anything on a passport, or anything I can find on a government document, I am not going to do the reading. That sharing this stuff is not okay. You know, if it gets leaked, then God, you know, forbid it gets leaked. But if it does get leaked, and it gets out there, then that's personal information. After they don't even know about it. If it's for like a third-party reading or something, they won't know. So you cannot be sharing this information. And then for diviner, this is for my practitioners as well. With the media that I have mentioned earlier, you do not need birthdays and all this specific information. You only need the information about the situation, right, that is being asked about, and any deeper context questions you need to clarify, but you don't need all this personal stuff. It's not about the government information, rather. Gosh. But like I said, I cannot stress enough how I and other practitioners who practice the same tools as I do not need this information. It is dangerous to share without the person's consent. And even if you're sharing your own information, don't do it anyway. It still has a degree of danger, so don't do it. You know, whether it's with me or whether it's with other practitioners, if they are asking you for the information, do not give it to them. Do not, ever, because it's not needed. And like I said, if that gets out there, then what are you gonna do? You're gonna be liable for that, for sharing that person's information, and then they don't know about it. If they do find out about it, they probably gonna be pissed at you. So don't do it. Okay? So yeah, that is a myth I would like to bust today in the divination community. I do not need birthdays. Other practitioners do not need birthdays, addresses, blah blah blah. Okay? If somebody gives me that, I will politely correct them. Like if a client gives me that information, I will, if it's like a birthday or full name, I will politely correct them and I will say, I do not need this, people give this to me in the future. But if they give a motherfucking address, you blocked immediately. Like that's the one you think people would have common sense about. And you do need to have common sense about that. Don't go sharing addresses online like that. Don't. So, for any future clients or any new clients that I have right now and watching this video, I hope that you now know that we don't need birthdays and this and that. That should stay in the government documents, stay in the passport, stay in the IDs. Use that rule of thumb. If a practitioner asks you for it, don't give it to them. And if you are a practitioner and you are asking people for the information, you do not need it. Especially with the addresses. If you're asking for people's addresses for readings, you shouldn't be doing readings and you don't be asking for that. It's also creepy. So don't. Anyway, now that that has been cleared up for you guys, I hope that you learned a bit more. I hope that this has helped you to stay safer online, especially with diviners. And like I said, I am accepting new clients, like all the time. All the time I'm accepting new clients. So if you'd like to get a reading from me, go to the links in the description to my Buy Me a Coffee page or message me directly on my Instagram. So if that's something that you think might interest you, go ahead, check it out. I also got a shop section with aura readings, divination coaching, all of that jazz. Check it out. But in the meantime, I hope you guys have a really lovely day. And yeah, that's all from me. Au revoir.